Today, I am playing through and ranking every single one of the Batman Arkham Knight DLCs. That includes the Arkham episodes, as well as the Season of Infamy DLC. It's been a long time since I've actually played through all of these, so to give it a more fresh experience, I'm just going through all of them right now, and I'm going to rank them accordingly. And we're doing so live on my Twitch right now, so if you would like to see some of my videos live on Twitch, follow the link in the description. And we're going to be ranking these all on a tier list, starting with S tier being the best, and then F tier being the worst. And as a quick reminder, this is just my own personal opinion, my own experiences with all of the different story packs and the DLC. I would love to hear what your opinions are on all of these in the comments below. So without further ado, we're gonna get started with Harley Quinn's story pack. Okay, so we just finished the Harley Quinn story pack, and oh my god, it was actually a lot shorter than I remember. I feel like the way that this game kind of presented itself with the story pack is that like it did a lot for like the tutorial stuff and it introduced a lot at once, but it's either that Harley Quinn is very powerful or the story itself is just way too easy. I feel like I was absolutely bodying everybody and it was just very simple. Like we had a couple of combat encounters, a couple of stealth encounters that were just like very easily to just get it out of the way. I have a very unpopular opinion that I'm sure is going to have me scrutinized in the comments. I'm not a big fan of this voice and attitude of Harley Quinn. It's a little annoying, and the best way that I could probably describe it is that I feel like it's better in small bursts, but having like a full character, or even in like the Suicide Squad game, which like I said earlier, I played the alpha and I thought was pretty... I don't know, there's just something about it that I just feel like is very overplayed, and I'm just not a big fan of it. Even like the final boss with Nightwing is just unbelievably simple, especially for a character like Nightwing. Basically, all you have to do is just jump over him and then just continuously hit him over and over again. Nightwing being like one of the best fighters in the DC universe, getting absolutely obliterated by Harley Quinn by just a maneuver that he himself knows how to do is just a little ridiculous. So that's why I feel like this is kind of more of like a secondary tutorial rather than like an actual story pack experience. And the whole purpose of this is to break out Poison Ivy, and Harley and Penguin have some pretty good interactions and dialogue with each other because they're working together at this point. There's nothing really special about this. Like, this story pack was teased a bajillion times with like each Arkham trailer of like, oh, you get to play as Harley Quinn, you pre-order to play as Harley Quinn, and in the end you just get like a 10-minute story that just is kind of like a whole lot of bleh. C tier. Up next, we have the Red Hood story pack. As much as I really love Red Hood as a character in this game and his movesets, his gung fu is amazing, don't get me wrong. Holy shit, is this story pack very underwhelming, much like the Harley Quinn one. It's just 3 like basic encounters with like the Black Mask boss at the very end, but Black Mask is just such a pansy in this story because he comes in and he's like, big mistake, Red Hood, and then all you have to do is just hit him with flashbangs and then just beat down combos over and over again. Like, once you know how to do that, it just becomes very easy and very monotonous. So you just have to kind of keep doing the same thing over and over again. You can't hit him with takedowns, but the fact that Red Hood can basically do a beatdown from anywhere on the screen just makes it so easy to just kill him. He has a very limited moveset, which is fine, but like, I really enjoy him as a character. His silent takedown is very interesting because it's instantaneous, because he's killing them, obviously. But I think the thing about this is it makes it so edgy. I wouldn't say it's too edgy, but it's a little too cheesy, if that makes sense. It does have one of the best endings though. I really like the ending where Black Mask is like just begging for his life and he's like, I'll go anywhere, and he's like, how about you go to hell? It's so edgy and I love it, but the rest of the story pack is so short and so underwhelming. I enjoy it almost solely because it's Red Hood, but if it was any other character, it would just be such a lame story pack, and especially because it takes place in 3 different locations also, where you have a teleport in the middle. It's not anything to write home about, but the only reason why it's as good as it is because of Red Hood, and I think it's safe to admit that. I'm gonna put Red Hood under B tier. So we just finished A Matter of Family, and apparently I have never played this DLC before, or at least I got up to like maybe 20%. I swear I thought I did play this, but then the achievements kept popping up, so I guess this is my first impressions of A Matter of Family. This was the best DLC out of all of them. And the thing that I really like about this is that I feel like all of the DLCs should have been treated like this, and I really wish that they were, because even though the experience was still like short, I think it was about like what, like maybe an hour, at least there was like a good cohesive story. It had some cutscenes. The premise of it was really good, and obviously the quality was a little bit higher. And also I just really like Barbara / Batgirl as a character in this. She's such a badass. But also, with it being a matter of family, she's rescuing her dad and she's recruiting Tim to help her. So they have a bunch of team attacks and stuff, and it just kind of gives us a playable experience with Batgirl, which is really cool. This also has a lot of really fun Easter eggs in it. My favorite one has to be Paulie, where there's this character named Paulie that Joker set an example of, but all of the different thugs are thinking of different examples of what he was supposed to be setting, and then they don't really know what he was actually supposed to set because there were a bunch of different ideas. And I just love that. I think it's really funny. Poor Paulie. There's also the extra audio logs that we get that show the very tragic backstory of the amusement park and the owner. I'm not gonna go too far into it because other YouTube videos have done it, but it is very, very sad and tragic. But it also just kind of shows the evil of Joker and Harley Quinn. And the boss fight with Joker and Harley was really cool. I just think it's really funny to have Batgirl and Robin doing like the typical like takedown animations on the Harley Quinn and Joker. Oh, and I almost completely forgot about the Starro Easter egg. There is a Starro Easter egg in here. I missed it in the actual campaign, but obviously I know it's here. And it's so disturbing to think that one of the most powerful DC Universe characters is actually here in this amusement park, and you can see him, and it's just terrifying that at any second the glass can break and he can just wreak havoc. This is the best one for sure. Absolutely no contest. Matter of Family gets an S rank. So we just finished Catwoman's Revenge, and I'm pretty sure that the amount of time that it took to beat that last fight was the entirety of A Matter of Family. Oh my god, this was definitely the hardest one, but also I just didn't really care. I know it's Catwoman's Revenge, and she's getting revenge on the Riddler from all the shit he put her through in the main campaign, but like, just, oh my god, that ending encounter, it absolutely ruined it for me. Like, the beginning stealth section was fine. Again, it was challenging. I just think for me, it's like, Catwoman is just a really hard character to play, and she doesn't really have all that many like escape options. But even in combat, her combat animations take so long, and really the problem is just the final fight with how unfairly challenging it is. But it's also because it's Catwoman, and her animations take so long that you will inevitably get hit and drop your combo, and I think that's what really makes it challenging. And fun fact, I mentioned this while I was playing it, but if you go to Batman Arkham Videos' YouTube video, they are notorious for playing these games flawlessly, but they dropped combos during their playthrough of it, and that should really tell you something. Like, it's funny because I thought that the Harley Quinn story was too easy. I thought Red Hood and Matter of Family were fine, but this one was just over the top hard. Definitely enjoyed this one the least. D tier. GCPD in Lockdown is Nightwing's story. I actually really like this DLC, mainly for the story purposes of just, it's Dick Grayson. Dick Grayson is my guy. I love a whole lot of Dick Grayson, and we get a good representation of Nightwing here. I think the thing that I like the least about this DLC is the stealth section, because of the way that it's kind of designed and the fact that Nightwing doesn't really have a way to like glide or sort of like move around very well. I just think I feel very restrictive in a lot about what I'm trying to do. And even when I go inside, there's not really a whole lot to like kind of hide around like with like cover and stuff, and there's so many enemies, but I also feel like there isn't really a creative way to take everybody out. I feel like whenever I do that map, it's like very like basic kind of cheese. I don't know. I've never really been a big fan of the stealth portion of this, and this is the thing that always kind of like kills me. But again, it just kind of goes into the very simple, like, I think we have 3 combat encounters, the 1 predator section, and then that's it. But I think what I really like about it is that it's a very simple story of Cobblepot trying to break out, and Nightwing just has to stop him from breaking out. It feels like the sort of like day-to-day to what Nightwing would kind of do, and I really liked that. And like I said, I just really like the way that Dick Grayson just kind of like has the quips. He's like a much more funnier presence than Batman, and frankly just the rest of the cast, I feel. And getting his own campaign for that is just really fun to kind of give him those moments to shine. And then also him shutting off the lights on Cobblepot. It's just like the little moments like that. It really does make it very memorable in that sense. I'm gonna put Nightwing's story on a B. It's probably actually, yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep it on B. I'd probably say that I like Nightwing's more, just in terms of like how the whole thing is set up, but I like the gameplay of Red Hood more. So we just finished Flip of a Coin, Robin's story. To put it lightly, I feel like missed potential is the best way to describe this particular DLC, because the main theme around this one is that Robin is on his own, and Oracle keeps telling Robin that he's on his own, and that Batman used to be the bad cop and you used to be the good cop, and now things are different, you're by yourself. And like, there's a lot of pressure on Tim's shoulders, and he definitely feels it, but I feel like these story packs are so short that you can't really expand upon that in a very reasonable way. The encounters themselves are just kind of whatever. It basically just goes into a series of like, here's a Predator section, here's a very small puzzling platform section, a very small combat encounter, another very easy puzzle section with another basic combat encounter, and then that's it. Like, there's nothing really special that happens with like Two-Face at the end either. And like, it's very unfortunate because I feel like these story packs were obviously made with that in mind, but I feel like they could have expanded a lot more on Robin's, and just the fact that he is on his own and he does have a lot of pressure. He can definitely feel the weight of the world on his shoulders by having to step up to be now the mentor Batman role, you know, because Dick doesn't want it, but even Tim doesn't want to be there. He wants to be on vacation. Like, he doesn't want to be doing this right now, but he has to because that's kind of his responsibility, and there's nobody else that can do it, so he has to. I mean, honestly, it's just kind of another middle of the road like DLC that I wish was just done better. In my opinion, it's very forgettable, but it's only memorable in the fact that it does have a lot of wasted potential. So I am also going to give Flip of a Coin a C. They really could have expanded Tim's to get like a whole Matter of Family. In fact, I feel like all of these could have done with a Matter of Family treatment to give them that next level, but they're all just kind of in this territory. We just finished In From the Cold, which is the first part of the Season of Infamy DLC, which is Mr. Freeze's story, and I gotta say, I really liked it. These Season of Infamies are probably going to be kind of on par with the Arkham story episodes, but just a little bit more in-depth when it comes to the story of the actual villains. And as far as closing Mr. Freeze's arc that he had in Arkham City, I really liked it, and especially for that purpose. It was just kind of like a lot of runaround when it came to like, let's go over here and do a Predator section, let's go over here and do a small combat section, and let's go over here and do a Predator section, and let's go over here and do a Bat Tank section. But like the story portion of it where you actually see Nora and she basically convinces Mr. Freeze to stop doing what he's doing, and you know, they get to spend their last remaining days together, is just, it's really sweet. I love it. I thought it was really good, very solid. It was about on par in terms of length with the other Arkham stories, but at least this one had a bit more production value, and I feel like the story actually did pay off because, like I said, it's like an expansion from what we saw in Arkham City. So I'm gonna give Mr. Freeze an A. It was probably my favorite out of like all of these stories, but mainly just in terms of the story factor. That's why I really enjoyed it. That's why it gets a lot of praise from me. Oh, and the last thing before I forget to mention is that if you do this one last, Gotham will permanently have the snow effect, which is what I have in my first save. So I made sure that for this second playthrough of me doing it, I did this one first, so that way I didn't accidentally have the snow effect permanently again. Wonderland is pretty interesting. It was a lot of like running around, just kind of like finding the cops and then tracking the sirens, doing the whole like detective work. And then after we did that, we actually went in and interrogated the Mad Hatter and went through his like, it's basically like kind of something similar that they did with Arkham City, which is kind of what this particular DLC is about, is just, oh, you liked that Mad Hatter section in Arkham City? Well, here's more of that. And it's like, oh, well, thank you. Yeah, it's totally fine. But in the end, it wasn't really anything super special. It had the flashbacks to, you know, all the different parts of Arkham. Like it had Arkham Asylum, Arkham City, and then some stuff with Arkham Knight. But doing it in the Batman, Robert Pattinson Batsuit was actually kind of cool with like the interrogation room and stuff. And it does make me want to see Mad Hatter as a villain in one of the Batman movies in the future. I think that that would be really cool, especially for like what they're kind of doing with Robert Pattinson's Batman, but that's just me personally. That has nothing to do with the game itself. But in general, it was just kind of like yeah, it was cool, but nothing particularly special either. So I kind of put it on like that sort of like middle of the road, but also like I didn't hate it sort of territory. I'm gonna put Wonderland on B tier. I'll probably put it like right here. So we just finished Shadows of War. This was definitely the longest of Seasons of Infamy for Ra's al Ghul and his story. I liked that there was a variety of different things in here that you could do. Like we had the detective mode stuff where we had to like follow the trail. We had the infamous power went section from the Batmobile to power up the hospitals. And you know, like I really enjoyed it because we also got the closure from Ra's al Ghul, and it gave us another choice that we could do on whether we let Ra's al Ghul live or die, but we don't necessarily kill him. And Batman has that conflict of like, yeah, I don't kill because I'm Batman, which he doesn't, but he's technically not killing him. He's just not letting him live because, like Alfred said, the world is going to be better off without the League of Assassins, and ultimately this was just the right choice. However, I'm glad that they actually gave us that choice, and I chose to let him live again, or more specifically my chat chose to let him live again, because I let him live the first time and I wanted to see what happened the second time, but chat said to kill him. Nothing really too extravagant in terms of the combat and stuff. Like we had like ninjas and whatnot. The real boss fight we're gonna get is Killer Croc, which I'm really excited for. But in general, I really enjoyed it. You know, it was a lot more lengthy this time around, and there were a lot of like platform sections that we could do too, a couple like platforming puzzles. You know, just another really solid DLC. So I think I'm gonna put it right in front of Mad Hatter. So we just finished Beneath the Surface, the last of the Season of Infamy DLC, and I also thoroughly enjoyed it. I think that having the Batman Nightwing dynamic and just having more of it in this DLC was also just good and very refreshing to see. But also getting the story of Killer Croc's kind of like tragic ending where this warden is just kind of a piece of shit. And you don't really realize that at first until you feel like something else is going on, but then you get that reveal towards the end where, yeah, he was experimenting on Croc, and that's why Croc's mutation is the way that it is. And unfortunately, he can't reverse it. So now he's just got to live with that for the rest of his life. You know, I think the highlight of this really was just the Killer Croc boss fight, and I remembered it being a little more fun to fight, but it just kind of turned into us fighting goons and then doing team takedowns on Croc as like the only real way to damage him, which makes sense because of how large he is. I don't know, I remember it being a little more engaging in terms of like actually maybe fighting him too. But I think if I want to play good boss fights, I'm just gonna go play Arkham Origins again. So overall, you know, it was fine, but kind of going through it again, I'd probably have to say that I would also give this a B. At least it had a cool boss fight at the end and more interactions with Nightwing, but overall I still kind of think it fits the sort of B tier category. And then I will also rate the Season of Infamy DLC as a whole. I think as a package deal, it is very solid, even though most of these things were kind of like in like the B tier, and then we had one at an A tier. However, going through all of them does take a considerable amount of time, and it gets closure for 4 different characters that we've had throughout the Arkham series, especially ones where in Arkham City specifically, their arcs were kind of like teased to have more, but then we didn't get them in the base game, but now they're here, which is really nice. Personally, I would have also liked to see maybe Zaz. I heard that there were rumors that Prometheus was supposed to be in the Season of Infamy DLC, but they decided to not use him because he didn't have any sort of relevance in the Arkham story, and they wanted to use the Season of Infamy to sort of like close out those arcs and give us villains that we were already used to seeing, which I respect, but I also would have liked to see maybe a new villain. Like I said, Prometheus would have been cool, but it's also really weird that Zaz wasn't in this game. But in terms of the Season of Infamy DLC, comparing it to the rest of the DLCs, I'm gonna put it at an A. I'll put it right in front of Mr. Freeze's story because obviously it's a part of the Season of Infamy DLC. Better than the Arkham stories for sure, especially as a whole, but I think that even like each individual story of Season of Infamy was better than all of the Arkham stories for all of the other side characters. And there you have it. That is my list of the Arkham Knight DLCs. So it took us about 6 hours to complete all of the DLCs. And you know, it was really fun going through this again because it's been a while since I've gone through all of the DLCs, and more specifically Season of Infamy DLCs. I guess this was my first time going through Matter of Family, which I'm glad I discovered today was a thing. Most, if not all of these DLCs are very solid, and they do add something to the story experience. However, I feel like a lot of the Arkham stories were very disappointing because I feel like the level of quality that you have with A Matter of Family specifically, and then kind of extending into the Season of Infamy DLC, just exceeds that. So I really wish that we could have gotten more from the side characters, and I thought we were going to get that in Gotham Knights, but we obviously did not really get that because it's not canon to the Arkham series. But hopefully we'll get some more closure and stuff in the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League game. I'm not sure. I just think it'd be cool as an Arkham fan just to kind of see that. So let me know your favorite of the Arkham Knight DLCs in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you see and you want to see more from me, don't forget to hit that like button because it really does help boost the engagement on the video. And if you want to see more from me, be sure you hit that subscribe button and ring that bell to get notified on when the next video goes live. I also have a join button if you would like to support me a little bit further and get some access to other fun perks such as seeing some videos early, seeing some behind the scenes videos, special credits and thanks in the videos, that sort of thing. And I may as well take this time to thank all of the YouTube members in my YouTube Grave Gang program. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really do appreciate it. And just as a quick side thing, I did recently hit 10,000 subscribers on YouTube, which I am eternally grateful for, and I really appreciate y'all clicking the subscribe button and, you know, doing all of the YouTube things. I really enjoy making all of these videos, especially these sort of ranking tier list style videos. It's kind of a recent thing that I've been doing, and I've really been enjoying it, and I would like to keep continuing to do that until I run out of topics to do, and I'll have to branch out to other things. And if you have any other suggestions for things that I should rank or put on a tier list, just let me know in the comments. Thank you all again so much for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your evening, and I will see you next time.